Hello my dear gearheads. As you know, I review knives, watches, flashlights and other EDC gear on the channel. And I have a lot of knives to review currently, but there's several that stand out and different locking mechanisms, different functions, different designs, etc. But out of all the knives that I currently have in for review, these three stand out. This one stands out as the best budget badass, and the review today will be for the SRM 258L is the model number on this. Here we go. 25L GC is the scales, I guess. Then we have Aris by Crites. Yeah, it's an AliExpress knife and 690 blade and a very badass. I mean, check that action out. The tiniest movement on the blade as expected from an OTF, but the design, aluminum, PEI, Altem by the other name, titanium clip, and just pure badassery here. And then everyone knows the Demco AD20 and AD20.5. This is, I would say, a masterpiece of engineering by Andrew Demco, design and engineering. This is a badass knife. Thing is though, this is about $240. This is, I actually purchased this on sale for 74 or something, but it's about 85 bucks. This one is $49 from SRM, which is a crazy price. And then with my discount, it should come down to about 45 bucks. So you have different choices, different budgets, and I would strongly recommend all three of these knives. But today, and the review for the AD20.5 is coming up soon. Now let's talk about the SRM 258L-GC's, this version. This is in D2 steel. And today I'm not going to talk about the blade as much. The blade, I will just say that I love the shape. It's a classic drop point with a nice belly. And if I was to choose a EDC blade, this is my most wanted shape and geometry of a blade. It is almost full flat, not fully, but by the way, if you do V-edges, you do need a flat area on the spine so that you can clamp this correctly. If you don't have that, it's quite difficult to sharpen full flat grinds because of the way the lips, the sharpening, whatever you use, the way the lips hold, you're not going to get a consistent angle unless you have these flat spots. So I like that in the design, but it is almost full flat grind. Okay, and we get very well crowned jimping in here. This is very good jimping. It's very functional. They've clearly polished it, and the whole thing is crowned. The whole blade is crowned. Very nice tip, and I have to say much better sharpening and finishing and polishing on the blade than some of the upper premium knives that I have seen. So very good of SRM to do this price range. Now I will start talking about why this knife is absolutely badass. And I could see this costing from like a Western brand. This would cost anywhere above 100 minimum in this configuration. Now SRM is coming out with another blade which is looking sick. It's a 140 CR laminated blade, so you've got very high carbon content, which is then laminated in stainless steel, and you get a very nice and very clearly visible wave pattern on that blade. Not much information on this steel, but it has been, based on my research, it was compared to S35VN, which is a very good and high performance steel. The knife in that configuration when they use that steel, they have different scales, and the price ranges from anywhere from $80 to $180, depending on what type of edition you get. If it's a limited edition, etc., they've got a titanium scales, they've got G10 and Damascus G10, etc. Various designs. You'll see that on their website. They also make another model that is very much like this and may have even a more comfortable handle than this, and this handle just melts in your hand. But that other model, which is 255L, this is 258L, they also have 255. These two knives from SRM, I believe, are their very, very best models. I'll explain why. That 255 just has more rounded geometry, which is why I'm saying maybe in certain holds. Not that this is uncomfortable. This is a very, very, very comfortable handle with this clip and everything. I mean, whoever designed this knife is a very, very good knife maker or designer, whatever you want to call it. Okay, let's start talking about why I absolutely love this, and let's forget the price for now. So the way they've designed this is you don't need screws to hold the scales together, the handle. This is a uni-shell or uni-case, they call. It's a unibody, basically. These liners, what you would usually have scales or liners, this is one piece that has been bent on two sides. The thickness of the steel here, I wonder, let me get my calipers out, because this is interesting. How much? So this tells me it is a millimeter. Yeah, 0.9, but that's in rounded corners. I would imagine this is 1 millimeter of stainless steel that has been bent. Now imagine that 1 millimeter multiplied by, you may think, well, that's only 1 millimeter, it's not thick. Now multiply that 1 millimeter by 80 millimeters. And that is the mass or area of steel that we get as a retention for. So integral, right? We've had integral scales for a while now, and the benefit of that is that they're very rigid and strong handles. This gives you the same thing, but in terms of production, I imagine this is much cheaper, of course, but you don't need screws, standoffs, etc. They still do have, obviously, because otherwise it is 1 millimeter steel after all, and you could bend this, right? So we do have a spacer in the back, same G10 material, they call this natural G10, and we also have a lanyard loop section in here where you can attach a lanyard. And that is covered and protected from the blade, so you won't be cutting it in any way. The blade is centered, and even if you unscrew this, because there is no tension pressing onto the blade from either side like a liner lock or a frame lock would, even if this gets loose, the blade remains centered. Nothing poking out. There is no way of you hurting yourself if this thing is in your pocket. The scales are contoured, 3D contoured, and very nice. This entire spine section of the handle makes it so, because you do not have like an opening. This is very, very comfortable, and you can hold it very tight, put pressure on it. It is a crossbar lock, and thus it is a very reliable locking system. They call this MB lock. I'll get into that as well. And it's very easy to deploy, close, open. And because the locking mechanism is so robust, I would not hesitate to use this in anything other than, you know, you don't want to baton a folding knife, obviously, but wood whittling, you know, cutting all kinds of stuff, working in the woods, which is what I mostly use my knives for, is bushcraft. And so I would not hesitate to take this knife in there. Again, I have to emphasize, because the handle is so comfortable. This is probably, or definitely, the best clip that I have on any of my knives so far. I love wire clips. This is a very, very well designed clip. Here's another one from Real Steel. I'm wearing currently on my pants. But you know, there's various designs of these wire clips, but I prefer this because of how it attaches. This is a reversible clip, and so they have this section in here on both sides where you basically press this in. You see, this is like springy, and so let me demonstrate. You press that in and you kind of push out. There we go. So when you press that in, you see these little teeth, they come out, and here is that entire section of the clip. There is no way of this popping out unintentionally. You really have to press down hard here as well as press up. But first of all, when you take this off, bam, no screw holes, nothing. Beautiful. Then you can attach it, if you like, to either side, and when you do that, this clip is very well designed, polished, and there's just no hotspots anywhere. I do prefer to have the clip on, so this is how easy it is to reattach. Bam, and it's on. Now, well, let me talk about the thumb stud and the action. Beautiful. Very nice, very reliable, and nothing is tearing up my skin. So this is for the attention of so many other manufacturers that produce premium knives. They sell them for premium prices, but the thumb studs often tear up your skin. This is just silky smooth action, as you can see, and so that's for the thumb stud. Now I can actually just flick it like that without using anything. Here, I'll show you. Oops, hit another knife there. So it opens without doing anything, and that is because the tension on the spring, I think, is just right. It is not too weak, but not too strong. I'll show you. For the lock itself, they call this MB lock. It's essentially a crossbar lock, but the way they've executed it here, and I cannot explain why, the spring is not very strong, but it's not weak either. It retains the knife. Yeah, you can flick it open, but I can do that with basically any of my knives regardless of the locking system. And why they call this MB, meaning either hand you use it on, both fingers have the same motion basically, and you open the knife up same way with both hands. But the thing is, it glides so well and so evenly. What I mean by that, I'll show you on some other knives. So evenly is that it allows you to use it, you see, from below or from the top. Easy. So you can actually flick it open or closed with just your thumb or your pointing finger, or both, obviously. That is very comfortable, and it's just a fidgety toy, you know. I've been doing this, I've had the knife for almost 3 weeks now, and you can do this all day, my friends. Now, why do I point out that this is a really good lock and it stands out amongst others is it's not very easy to do a good crossbar lock. This knife costs 3 times the amount of the SRM. It's a Tucson in M390, and has a rather bad execution of a crossbar lock. These do not protrude enough, they're pointy, and the shape of this thumb stud is not optimal, as well as the tension is a bit too much, etc. You get some lock stick as well. These guys, this is a tenable blade, this is also tenable. They make very good crossbar locks, very easy to use. Just the right amount of protrusion, just the right amount of tension. So these are very good locks, very good crossbar locks. This is Concept Eagle Strike, the same exact knife as the other one. Smaller Concept, also very good crossbar lock, but somehow none come close to this guy. And that goes even for their own other knife. This is in 10CR steel. The model number is 7228L. This also has the same exact shape, so it is very comfortable for the grip, but it does not have the same movement. It's not as easy to operate as this one. I don't know whether it is due to the unibody construction or uni-shell or whatever, uni-chasis construction of this versus the two separate sides sandwiched. I don't know, but whatever reason, this is silky smooth. Again, they have this very close to this. This is 258 and they make 255L models as well. I'll try to get both in to review, but I suspect that it'll be just as comfortable and as slick in use as this knife. So bad examples of a crossbar lock, regardless of how hard I try to push it. And this is closed, right? It's not even in open position to say that it has lock stick. It's not lock stick. It's just a very strong spring in there. And plus, look at how much this protrudes. So it's not easy. I mean, people have spent money and they've designed, etc., and produced this, and it sucks, I have to say. The crossbar lock on this thing sucks. Thing is, they're still spending the money, the materials. It's just not refined as much as it could have been, and it's not price. This demonstrates that it's not the price. Now SRM, I've talked to them that this definitely is their flagship knife. These together with 255L, as I suspect. You will get discount codes in the description, check that out. And as I said, I very strongly believe that under 50 bucks, no knife can beat this. I would argue that this beats a lot of knives under 100 bucks and under 200 bucks. If you go into brand names, you know, prices go up. This knife is better than probably 99% of those knives. Now this is let's say a template, right? You can change the blade type, the steel, you can change the scales, etc. But this construction and the clip and the bar lock, this thing, this is just genius, and it came out very well. And I think SRM has very bright future in promoting this specific model as well as the 255L. These two knives, man, for EDC, all rounded, so comfortable. And as I said, slap a Benchmade on here, and in D2 steel you could see this knife sold at like $150 and $200 mark. So very good job SRM, very good job on this one. Very excited to start collabing with them. I very strongly recommend this knife, hands down. And just so you know, this will be the knife to beat under even $100, even though this particular one costs $45, but $45 with my discount. But when I get the 140 CR version, that knife will compete with more mid-range to slightly premium knives in like S35 VN steels, and that one costs between $80 and $140, so it will still punch way above its price range. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Check out SRM, go to the description to get the discount codes, and have yourself a good one. Cheers.